Today I'm going to show you a complete beginner's guide of the 2023 16-inch MacBook Pro, starting with the unboxing, the initial setup process, and then going into some applications to check out first. We're going to dive into some tips, tricks, and hidden features, allowing you to leave this video as an expert. Let's get started. On the front of the box, you've got an image of the MacBook Pro open with a stunning wallpaper. Let's turn this box around and open it up. There's no more plastic wrap around these boxes anymore. Apple has placed pull tabs with green arrows. Much easier to open up the box now. This MacBook Pro has a 16-inch screen, the Apple M2 Pro chip, a 12-core CPU, a 19-core GPU, 16 gigabytes of unified memory, and 1 terabyte of flash storage. There's a pull tab to take the MacBook Pro out. On the right side of the MacBook Pro, we've got one HDMI port, one Thunderbolt 4 port, and a built-in SD card slot. On the left side of the MacBook Pro, we've got a 3.5mm headphone jack, two Thunderbolt 4 ports, and MagSafe 3. Inside the box, we've got the MagSafe 3 charging connector. It comes in a nice braided cable, and the MagSafe end matches the color of the MacBook Pro. Designed by Apple in California. We've got a quick start guide and some black Apple stickers. And last, we've got the charging brick. Let's go ahead and take the wrapping off of the MacBook Pro. Now let's set up this machine. We'll select our language as English, then we'll select our country. Next, we'll pick an appearance, light, dark, or auto. I prefer dark mode 24/7. Light mode will keep your machine light 24/7, and auto mode will automatically switch from light mode to dark mode when the sun goes down. Apple has a ton of accessibility features. Here's one for vision where you can reduce motion on the screen. I'll continue with standard. There's an option for an accessibility keyboard. Under hearing, you can turn on closed captions. You can turn on flash for alerts, and the screen will flash to get your attention. And we've selected dark mode for appearance. Speak selection will speak selected text when the option and escape keys are pressed. Typing feedback will speak characters, words, and selection changes as you type. Hover text enlarges the text underneath the pointer. And those are your accessibility options. Now we'll select our Wi-Fi network and enter our password. A software update is available for this Mac. If you're using Apple's advanced data protection or security keys, I highly recommend you update to the latest software prior to continuing the installation process. The update takes a few minutes. The system will download the update over Wi-Fi and install it. After updating to macOS 13.2, I had to go through the setup process one more time, selecting my country or region, accessibility settings. One accessibility feature under Vision that I did turn on was Zoom. I'll demo this later in the video. The data and privacy icon appears when Apple is asking for your personal information. If you're transferring data from a Mac, Time Machine backup, startup disk, or Windows PC, the Migration Assistant is here to help. I'm going to select Not Now. Sign in with your Apple ID. This enables services like iCloud, App Store, and more. I have two-factor authentication enabled, so I'll need to verify with my security key. You may just have to type in a 6-digit verification code. After I insert my key, it asks me to accept the terms and conditions. Check out our YouTube short on security keys to learn more about this authentication process. Now I can set up my computer account. We'll give the computer an account name and password. Setting up account via iCloud. It asks me to verify again with my iPhone password, and then I can make this my Mac. It copies the settings from my iPhone and applies them to the Mac. Location services, device analytics, app analytics, Siri, screen time, and appearance. You can customize these settings in the lower left. File Vault Disk Encryption. This encrypts your files and is great for tightened security. Next up is Touch ID, which uses your fingerprint to unlock the Mac. You can place your finger on the sensor a few times and it's registered. Last but not least is Apple Pay, and we're in. Whether you just turned on your brand new MacBook Pro or thinking about getting an Apple computer, this video is perfect for you as we'll go over the Mac operating system basics. On your desktop, you can see we have two folders, and any other icons or files that we put will show up there on the desktop. At the very bottom, we have the dock, where your most frequently used applications are. You can always add and remove applications from the dock, which we'll go into a bit more detail later. In the top left, you've got the Apple logo and the menu options. Depending on the application that you're in, your menu options will change. Right now, we're in the Finder, and the Finder is the file system for the Mac operating system. In the top right, we have the time, we've got Control Center, and then you've got menu icons. We'll go into details of the menu icons later. But let's take a look at the next thing within Finder, applications. When we open up applications, you can see every single application that's installed on the Mac. Another way to access all of your applications is through the Launchpad. Launchpad lives right here in the dock. It's the second option, and we can tap on it and all of our applications will pop open. Inside of Finder, we can copy and paste things, just like in a normal file system. So if we open up a folder here, I've got this audio file right here. If I want to copy it, I just press Command C. And if I want to paste it, I just press Command V. And here we've got English copy. You can also use the file menu options at the top to copy and paste items. And you'll see the shortcuts right next to the item, Command C and Command V. To open an application, all you have to do is just click on the application icon. To close it, you can use Command Q on the keyboard or go to the menu bar and click on the name of the application and then quit. If you take a look at your dock, all of the applications with a dot underneath them are open. All of the applications that do not have a dot on them are closed. If I open an application, you'll see a dot appears underneath it. I can also click and hold to quit that application. If an application is not responding, you can quit it with a force quit. All you have to do is just hold down the Command, Option, Escape keys, and force quit applications will open up. And if it's not responding, you can click on the name of the application and then click force quit. It will ask, do you want to force quit calendar to quit? You'll lose any unsaved changes and then force quit, and it will immediately close out the application that's not responding. There are multiple ways to install applications on your Mac. The easiest way is the Mac App Store. You can scroll and find an application that you like and click install. You type in your login information for your Apple ID. Since I just set up this Mac, it's asking, do I want to use Touch ID for future purchases? Sure. Next time I install an application, it'll ask me to authenticate with Touch ID rather than my password. And just like this, I've installed a brand new application to my Mac. You'll see the Launchpad jumping, and I can click on it and you'll see this application is now in my Launchpad. I can also go to Finder and go to Applications and see that this application is installed on my Mac in the Applications folder. So it's very easy to set up applications using the Mac App Store. All you need is an Apple ID, you log in, and you can download or purchase any Mac app. If an app is not on the Mac App Store, when you hit the download button, it typically will download a disk image file, .dmg. And when you open that DMG, you just drag the application over to the Applications folder. Since I already have this installed, it's asking, do I want to keep them both? Do I want to replace the image file that I already have? Or do I want to stop? I'll go ahead and stop since it's already installed. And then other times, you can just install the app by clicking on the installation file, and it will download the version that's the latest and then install it to your computer, extract the app, and open it immediately. So there's multiple ways to install applications on the Mac, from the Mac App Store to downloading a disk image file to just using the install button. No matter how you install an app, it's fairly simple to get set up, and they all go to your applications folder. So Clean My Mac, Daylight, Sasanima, all of these applications are in my applications folder, and I can access them through the Launchpad or within Finder. After you install an application using the DMG file, you can eject it by dragging it to the trash icon. And that will eject the DMG, the disk image, from your computer. and then you can drag that DMG from your downloads folder and into the trash. Another cool way to open up applications is using Spotlight. You can access Spotlight by holding down Command Spacebar, and that brings up Spotlight Search. And I can find files, apps, web searches, do calculations right here from Spotlight. And this purpose, we're going to search for Spotify and hit enter, and then it opens up Spotify. So you can open up Spotify or any other app by holding down Command Spacebar and accessing Spotlight Search. You can go to the launch pad and open up Spotify, or you can go to your applications folder within Finder. So there are multiple ways to open up applications. Spotlight, though, in my opinion, is the fastest and my favorite. You just hold down Command Spacebar, type in the name of the application, and hit open, or enter in that case. We can close Spotify by clicking and holding in the icon in the dock and then clicking quit. Next up, I want to show you how to update your computer. You'll do that in System Settings and then going to General and then going to Software Update. You'll want to check this panel out as soon as you set up your computer to see if there are any pending updates for software to get installed on your Macintosh. Another helpful thing is to open up the Mac App Store and head over to Updates and see what application updates are available. I updated the iMovie GarageBand pages, numbers, and Keynote on January 24th. As soon as I got the computer, I updated to the latest versions. So it's very important to check out and see if you have a pending operating system update or if you have pending application updates to make sure you're on the latest software that runs very well. Next up, let's review how we can change the wallpaper. All you have to do is just control-click onto your desktop and then go to Change Wallpaper. And it opens up System Settings. If you don't want to control click, you can also just go to System Settings by clicking on it. There's multiple ways to get to System Settings. You can click on System Settings in the dock, or you can click the Apple logo and go to System Settings. Either way, you go to System Settings and you click on Wallpaper. The most simple and easiest way is to control click on the desktop and click Change Wallpaper, and it opens up System Settings Wallpaper. And if we want to change the desktop wallpaper, we can click on something new and we can see it update in real time. So they've got plenty of options here that match the light and dark mode theme of the desktop, and you can download some other options here, or you can just make it a simple color. You can also add in a photo album or other files on your computer. macOS allows you to have multiple desktops on your computer. You can press the Mission Control option to see which desktops you have. You can also access this in a swipe up feature. You can swipe up all 4 fingers and get access to Mission Control. And here I can add a desktop in the top right. So here I have desktop 2, I can add desktop 3. My favorite thing about having different desktops is that you can come in here and change the wallpaper in its respective desktop. So I can change the wallpaper and have 3 different wallpapers on 3 different desktops. So if we drag this one to desktop 3, we can set a different wallpaper. So now I have 3 desktops and they all have different wallpapers. So this is one of my favorite features to have. Depending on the desktop I'm on, it has a specific wallpaper for that desktop. Another cool thing you can do is in the dock, you can hold down on an application, go to options, and then assign to a desktop. So if I want this to be on the desktop on display number 1, I can assign it to that desktop. So now anytime I open it, it only opens up on display number 1. I can say desktop on display number 2, or I can assign to all desktops. Another cool feature in macOS is that you can open an application at login. So if I want Apple Music to open up, I can hold down on it, I can click and hold, and go to options and then say open at login. Now Apple Music will open every time I log into my computer. You can do this for any application that's in the dock. You can just hold down on it, scroll up to options, and then open at login. If you want to remove an application from the dock, all you have to do is hold down options, remove from dock. Another easy way to do this is just to drag it, click and hold and drag and remove the application. If you want to add the application back, all you have to do is just drag it back like this. And now the application is back. If you open up System Settings and go to Desktop and Dock, you can change the orientation and position of the dock on the screen. Right now it's at the bottom. I can move it to the left or the right. Depending on which you prefer, you can go into System Settings, Desktop and Dock, and pick which one you like best. Right here, we have the option to automatically hide and show the dock. So I can enable this, and now the dock will disappear. If I want to access the dock, I can just bring my mouse down to the very bottom of the screen and it will reappear. But as soon as I take my mouse away from the screen, it will disappear. And this enables me to have more screen real estate for my applications and just only pull up the dock to access an application when I need to. If you take an application into full screen mode, you'll notice that the menu bar at the top disappears. You can automatically hide and show the menu bar in full screen. You can say on the desktop only, so now the menu bar's gone and I can scroll back up to the top to get access to it. Or there's another option to always hide it. I prefer the menu bar to stay and just disappear in full screen only. Another cool feature in macOS is inside of System Settings under Desktop and Dock, if you scroll to the bottom, you have the option for hot corners. And by default, Quick Note is enabled. You can scroll down to the very bottom and you'll see a Quick Note pops up in the very corner of the screen. And if I can access that, just click on it and it will open up that note. I can also tell hot corners to do other options. So we can say go to Mission Control if I insert my mouse into the top right of the screen. We can say put the display to sleep. We can say show the desktop in the left corner. And then we can say application windows in the bottom left corner. So I've enabled these different options here. Now when I hit done, if I put my mouse in the corner of the screen, it enables Mission Control. If I put it in this corner of the screen, it enables my applications windows. So depending on which corner of the screen I put it in, now it shows my desktop. So that's hot corners. The next cool feature under macOS in System Settings is Internet accounts. You can add your Internet account, your iCloud, your Google, your Microsoft Exchange, whatever account you have, you can add it in here, and all of the macOS default apps like Contacts, Notes, Mail will be enabled under that account. So when you open up the Contacts, all of your data will be there. When you open up your email app, all of your data will be there. The next app I want to show is one of the first apps that I install when I get a computer. It's called SetApp, and it's like Spotify, but for Mac applications. You pay a monthly fee, around $10 plus tax, and you get access to over 200 applications. And I've installed a dozen applications from SetApp across all of my devices, and I highly recommend it. I'm going to show you a few applications that are SetApp enabled that I've installed, but you can see all of the applications on this Mac so far. But the first one I'm going to talk about is Clean My Mac. It's very helpful when you open up Clean My Mac and you want to see all the space on your computer and you want to get a space lens. You can come in here and builds a storage map, and it shows you how much space is being used on your computer by different files, icons, and options. And it shows you on your computer what's using the most space. So I can tap into here. I can see that the users right now, 240 gigs of space is being taken up just by users. I can double click onto it and go into more detail and find out exactly what's taking up the most space. I can find large files and old files. This is very helpful if I need to clear up space and I see that this one video here is taking up 8 gigabytes. This one file here is taking up 4.1 gigabytes. So Clean My Mac, highly recommend for when you start to use your Mac and you want to identify large files or things that are taking up a lot of space on your computer. It also has a smart scan capability where it can clean up your Mac, it can look for malware, it can optimize the speed of your computer and do maintenance on it and uninstall applications. So I highly recommend Clean My Mac, and you can get it a part of the SetApp subscription. Use the link in the description below to help out the channel and get set up with SetApp, and I'm sure you're going to love it. The next app and SetApp that I want to talk about is CleanShot 10. CleanShot is a better screenshot manager for the Mac operating system. And on the Mac, in order to take a screenshot, you hold down Command-Shift-4. And that brings up this little crosshairs here where I can select an option here on the screen. I'm going to take a screenshot of that. And CleanShot puts it right here on my screen. And I can do multiple things with it. I can double click on it and start annotating within the screenshot and start putting, say I don't want to have the rating, I can blur that out. I can blur out the pug here, so I can annotate. It's super fun to draw. I can come in here and I can use their design tools to make it look more beautiful. And I can come in here and make the screenshot my own screenshot. So it has an incredible annotation platform, and I can take multiple screenshots. I can take one of this blurred image here, and it stacks it on top of each other. If I want to save the image, I just press save and it goes to my desktop. A cool feature in macOS is you can quick look. I can click on a file and press the space bar and it opens that file. I can do that for any type of file. This is a folder, and I can press the space bar once I click on it, and it tells me how big that folder, when it was last modified, how many items are in it. So I love the quick look feature, and I can come in here and save this annotation here. Save as, we can go to my desktop, and then I can quick look into this option too. So now that I'm done with that, I've got screenshots here, and I can quick look by pressing the spacebar, and it opens up these screenshots. Now, another feature that's enabled on this computer is stacks. I'm going to disable stacks really quick. So stacks, you can see I have 2 screenshots. Stacks groups everything together. If I have multiple movies, multiple PDFs, multiple screenshots, when I right click by pressing Control and clicking, and I click Use Stacks, it groups all of those screenshots together. And any type of other file that I would have on here, it will group together and make it really clean on my desktop. And when I want to access them, I just tap on them, and all of the files within that grouping show up. So these are screenshots and for this example, and they show up just by me tapping on them. When you install a bunch of apps, your menu bar up here becomes cluttered with menu icons. I have an application called Bartender that's set up through Set App, and it enables the ability to hide all of those icons underneath the Bartender application. So I can come down to the menu bar layout, and I can see the only icon that I see is my battery icon, the Bartender 4 icon, and Control Center. All the menu bar applications, though, are hidden within Bartender. And whenever I want to access the menu bar application icons, I just bring my mouse up to the top and they show up, and I can access them. But by default, this would be too many menu bar icons in my menu bar, and it would be very cluttered if I did not have Bartender installed. So I highly recommend you check out SetApp and the Bartender application. It's really helpful to declutter your menu bar, and you can hide which menu bar icons show up and which ones do not. So personalize your menu bar. That's Bartender. Quickly hide and reveal menu bar icons. Get a handy search for menu bar icons. See when apps are updating or showing error, and organize menu bar icons by importance. So really helpful. The next cool feature in macOS to check out is the notification center. You just click the time and you get full access to it. You have all of these widgets here. We can click the edit widgets button at the bottom, and we can see we've got a calendar widget, clock widget, find my widget, several widgets here that we can click on and add in to our notification center. So I can drag this podcast widget right over. I can go down to, let's see, tips, and drag in a tips widget, and you can drag these around. You can modify it to make it your own. We can move the podcast and tips to the very top. And once we have the notification center with all the widgets that we like, we can go ahead and click done, and it puts them there. So super cool that you can check out Notification Center and add widgets to make it your very own personalized Notification Center. If you look at the top right of my screen, you'll notice that I have the seconds running in my clock. You can also enable that too by going into System Settings, going down to Control Center, scrolling down to the very bottom within this section where it says Menu Bar Only, and then the clock options. You click on that, and here you can modify this to any method that you want, whether you want a digital clock or an analog clock, 24-hour clock, whether you want to show AM or PM, flash the time separators. But for me, what I have is the seconds enabled, display the time with seconds. That way I know exactly what time it is and when the next minute is coming. Another feature I have enabled on this Mac too is the announce time on the half hour. So every half hour, the speaker, the voice assistant of the Mac, will speak out that it's going to be 6 o'clock or 6:30 or 7 o'clock. And it's very helpful for me to stay on track and on time when the computer is reminding me every half hour what time it is. So those are two features I highly recommend that you check out. You can go into the System Settings, Control Center, scroll down to the bottom and click on Clock Options and modify the clock to how you like it. Another cool feature in macOS is that you can hold down the green icon here and either enter full screen. You can adjust this to the left side of the screen or tile the window to the right side of the screen. We can put two applications side by side here, just like that. Another cool way that you can put applications side by side is by dragging them on top of one another in Mission Control. So if you remember, we access Mission Control by pressing the F3 button on our computer, and we just drag the application on top of another one, and it puts it side by side right here. So now we can see both of these windows at the same time. Really cool. Now to exit this, all we have to do is just hit the escape button, and it will bring that item back out, that window back out. So we'll just hit the escape button and we are out of full screen. So that's how you can access full screen. And we're going to exit full screen by pressing the escape button here and going back to AppFind VIP and exiting. So now we have all of these windows out of full screen. The next feature that I want to focus on in macOS is perfect for those that have a bunch of applications open at the same time. This feature is called Stage Manager, and you can access it within the Control Center in the menu bar. So you click on the Control Center menu bar icon, and then you click Stage Manager. And you'll see that it takes all of my applications and puts them off to the side and divides them based off the application name. So here I'm in Apple News. If I want to switch back over to Safari, I can click on Safari and all my windows pop open. I can move my mouse back over to the left side of the screen and then switch over to System Settings. And it groups all of my applications by the application name, and I can stay organized and keep my display clutter-free of windows just by staying within Stage Manager, because it keeps your respective windows attached to the name of the application that you click on. So if I want to go back to Apple News, I can do that, and it hides the App Store. I can go to Pages and it hides Apple News, and it makes for a much cleaner way to work and get your content created, or your browsing, your reading, when you sort all of your windows by the application name within Stage Manager. It's a really cool feature that you can check out and be more productive with by grouping all of your applications together. The next feature I want to talk about is perfect for those that use external displays or really large displays. Sometimes your cursor gets lost and you can't find it on the computer screen, but macOS has a feature built in where you can just shake your cursor and it will enlarge itself so you can find where it is on the screen. So just like that, you can shake the cursor and it gets larger on the screen and you can find exactly where it is. If you're working on a 30-inch or a 60-inch, a really large TV, and you can't find where that cursor is, all you do is just shake the mouse and it gets really big and really easy to point out. The next feature I want to talk about is in Safari, and it's really helpful if you have multiple Safari windows open and you want to combine all of them into one single window. You can press the window button and press merge all windows, and it takes all three windows and combines them to one window within tabs. And now I can click on the different tabs, and that's very helpful if you've got too many windows open and you just want to consolidate all of them under one window and declutter your windows that are currently open on your computer. So I use this feature every day. It's really helpful when you have too many windows open. You just combine them all into one tab and you organize them easily. Safari is not the only application on the Mac that has tabs. Finder also has tabs, and you can access it by going to File and then saying New Tab. The command shortcut for this would be Command T, and that opens up a new tab. So we can go over to the desktop here, open up AppFind, and the cool part is I can drag things between tabs. I can take this screenshot or clean shot that's on my desktop and drag it right over to the AppFind folder. That's a tab within Finder. So the Finder is super helpful to have multiple tabs open and to work between the two. The next thing I want to show you in Finder is the trash. You can click on it, and if you want to restore a file, you can right click on it and then say put back, or you can empty everything inside the trash with this empty button in the top right. We're going to go ahead and clear out the trash, and it's going to confirm, it's going to ask us, are you sure you want to permanently erase the items in the trash? And we are sure. We'll go ahead and empty the trash. And it makes that satisfying sound, and my trash can is now clear. There's no trash on top of it, and that's really helpful to do from time to time. And another thing that gets very cluttered is your downloads folder. Remember to remove your items from the downloads folder that you're not currently using, because it tends to take up a ton of space. But drag those items into the trash, clear them out weekly or monthly, and your Mac will be as fast and speedy as possible. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to comment, like, subscribe. Be sure to even check out Super Thanks. Press the Super Thanks and help the channel grow. And we really appreciate you all checking out these videos and hope you enjoyed it. And we can't wait to see you in the next one.